Begbie. I was the first Chief Justice, Chief Justice Sir Matthew Begbie. I'm very important.
Well, I don't know too much, but apparently he said some hurtful things to the First Nations community. Something, because he's like the hanging judge.
Yeah.
He hung people. So, but I don't know. I still think when I first heard the story, I didn't feel that was the best approach to cut it.
From what I understand, there used to be a statue of Judge Begbie here. In fact, this building is called Begbie. And just through the grapevine, I heard that Justice Begbie perhaps carried some racist attitudes towards his sentencing and unfairly sentenced many Aboriginals.
By decree of Her Royal Majesty Queen Victoria, as pronounced by me, Sir Matthew Bailey Begbie, Chief Justice of British Columbia.
Matthew Bailey Begbie served as the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of British Columbia from 1871 until his death in 1894. Since his death, Begbie has become a very polarizing figure. Some refer to him as the hanging judge because of his role in sentencing many people to death, including several Aboriginal chiefs. However, others are quick to point out that the murder trials were decided by jury. At the time, the death penalty was mandatory for murders unless the judge could successfully petition the government for clemency. Begbie successfully argued for clemency in several murder cases. In total, only 27 out of 52 murder cases over which Judge Begbie presided ended in hangings. Begbie was quoted as saying, "I never hanged any man. I simply swore in good citizens like yourself as jurymen, and it was you who hanged your fellow citizens." Judge Begbie overheard the trial of several Chilcotin chiefs who were convicted of murder for their role in what became known as the Chilcotin War. In 1860, Begbie found a Californian man guilty of assaulting a First Nations man based only on the testimony of First Nations people, the first time this had ever occurred. He could hear cases in Shuswap and Chilcotin without the use of an interpreter. In addition, he allowed people to swear an oath of truth on an object sacred to them in place of the traditional Bible. In 1980, the University of Victoria named its new law school building after Begbie. The Law Society of British Columbia donated a bronze statue of Begbie himself riding a horse, which was featured at the entrance of the building. In 2000, to celebrate the law school's 25th anniversary, the building was renamed after the school's founding dean and his wife. However, the statue of Begbie remained.
The issue of the Begbie statue in the UVic Law Building was raised in 1994. This resulted in the law school consulting several local elders about what the appropriate course of action would be. The elders advocated that balance should be brought to the area, and not destruction. Rather than remove the statue, which could cause imbalance in others, they advocated the addition of other items to create balance. This resulted in the modification of the foyer to allow for a blanket and carving to be displayed. There was also the addition of the spindle and whorl in the library. The area was cleansed in April of 1996 during an opening of the way ceremony. The items were installed in October of 1996 after the elders performed a prayer and cleansing ceremony on them. This was attended by a large number of faculty, students, elders, and local community members. These symbols were designed to create a feeling of positivity and balance at the law school. The statue of Judge Begbie was a replica of one located at the Law Society of British Columbia. It is an equestrian statue showing him on horseback, from which he was said to have held court while traveling throughout British Columbia. The symbolism of being atop a horse is often used to depict rulers, conquerors, and other military leaders. Such statues have been used historically to depict figures such as Napoleon, Genghis Khan, Marcus Aurelius, and Charlemagne. This perhaps results in Begbie being portrayed as a symbol of colonialism or as a conqueror or ruler. Its prominent position in the foyer made it almost impossible to enter the law school without passing it by.
The UVic law community is small, but the issue of symbolism within its space is much larger. When one looks to Greater Victoria, the symbols and statues that surround Victoria's most important spaces, such as the legislature and the inner harbour, are similarly often those of colonial forces. On the BC legislature, for example, there are 14 human figures cut into the exterior of the building. All of these figures are men, and 13 of them are white men. The lone Indigenous person is Chief Makina, an 18th century chief from Nootka Sound who played a central role in the early relationship between the Indigenous people of BC's coast and the Spanish and British explorers. His statue is right next to the statue of Judge Begbie. Begbie's presence is felt all over the city and the province. On the mainland, there are schools, buildings, and mountains named after the judge. In Victoria, he is remembered daily through street signs, building names, historical markers, and his large gravestone in Ross Bay Cemetery. The removal of Begbie from the law school has cleansed that space of what many see as a controversial figure, but his legacy remains entrenched in many other prominent areas in the city. The controversy around the statue's removal at UVic has meant that the issue of what to do with this space remains dormant. Spaces and the symbols within those spaces are important. Perhaps the best way to heal from this sensitive period would be to reopen the debate and have students and faculty decide what to do with a space once occupied by the hanging judge.
It reflects the lack of understanding of what this building is about. I think people keep putting different things, and this is the only thing that we've managed to keep consistent. Otherwise, for months it was just
the space has just become so symbolic, I guess. It represents, I think, a lot of some of the injustice that's occurring.
If you're asking me whether it should be, I think we should definitely keep an open mind to everything. So whether it be First Nations or non-First Nations, we should keep an open mind to what this could mean for many other people. Maybe this is an encouraging thing. It wasn't for me, but maybe it was an encouraging thing to some other people. Maybe they were affected. So I think it's important to keep in perspective.
I'm not sure what this space should be about, but I think what's needed is a collaborative discussion about what the law school is about, and then trying to find an image that symbolizes the purpose of this building.
Do you think something should be done with this space?
Definitely, because right now it seems very and even if we wanted to make it more reflective of Indigenous traditions and the I Don't Know More movement, I think it needs to be more than a piece of paper that someone wrote on.
Something artistic, I think that'd be my only requisite. The law in and of itself is riddled with symbolism, whether it be the scale or Lady Justice or the sword. It represents a lot about what we study here and why we study it. In the sense that having the statue there, it did symbolize, the legacy of our legal history in BC, and some of it which is very much tainted. So whatever does come here, I think will symbolize something, whether it be something to look forward in the future.